Back in 1950, human populations were expanding rapidly. At that time, 109 countries had fertility rates above 6 children per woman. Only 4 nations fell below the level needed to maintain their population. Look at that same map projected for 2026. 0 countries remain above a rate of 6. Meanwhile, 136 countries and territories now sit below that crucial replacement level. This data relies on a metric called the total fertility rate. It calculates the average number of children a woman would have over her lifetime, assuming the birth rates recorded in a single year remain constant. This shift marks a reversal of a centuries-old trend. After generations of expansion, the global human map is moving toward widespread demographic contraction. To understand this contraction, we have to look at the exact baseline needed for a population to stay the same size. Theoretically, it takes 2 children to replace 2 parents, but the math requires a slight adjustment. Biologically, there is a small surplus of boys born compared to girls, meaning you need an average slightly above 2.0 to ensure enough future mothers are born. A second adjustment accounts for the fraction of children who, unfortunately, do not survive to adulthood. Add those factors together and the baseline settles at roughly 2.1. That 2.1 is the dividing line. It dictates whether a nation's long-term future trends toward growth or toward a shrinking population. Today, sub-Saharan Africa operates far above that line. 18 of the top 20 highest fertility countries in the world are located on this continent. At the absolute top of the global data spectrum, Chad registers 5.84 children per woman, closely followed by Niger at 5.64. However, that 2.1 replacement rule we established is based on low mortality settings. In regions with higher child mortality rates, like much of sub-Saharan Africa, a country might need an average closer to 3 or 3.5 children per woman just to hit their specific replacement level. Because these birth rates consistently outpace mortality, the region has developed a massive, heavily weighted young age structure. It remains the final region of rapid population growth. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, dense, highly developed regions are plunging far below replacement. Macau has the lowest recorded rate at 0.58, with South Korea at 0.75 and Hong Kong at 0.84. As these economies rapidly developed, the financial requirements for raising a child in a hyper-urban environment skyrocketed. Space is at a premium, and the raw cost of living acts as a direct inhibitor to large families. That financial strain is compounded by cultural expectations. Highly competitive educational environments and changing social norms around marriage lead adults to delay having children or opt out entirely. This is not isolated to Asia. Even European nations with generous government-funded welfare and childcare states have watched their fertility rates fall well below 2.1. Across the developed world, economic development and urban density consistently correlate with lower birth rates. As these conditions spread, so does the pattern of sub-replacement fertility. Now, this brings up a logical contradiction. If 136 countries are below replacement and the global average has dropped to 2.27, why is the total number of humans on Earth still going up? This chart shows a demographic concept called population momentum. It is a visual representation of a population's age structure, with the wide base indicating a massive generation of young people. Even if each of those young women eventually has fewer than 2 children, there are so many of them entering their childbearing years that the absolute volume of births stays remarkably high. Meanwhile, deaths are concentrated among the older generations at the top of the pyramid. Because that older cohort comes from a time when the overall population was smaller, the total number of deaths is heavily outweighed by the total number of new births. Global population size possesses enormous inertia. Dropping below the replacement rate does not immediately halt growth. It triggers a decades-long delayed reaction. Demographic trends function with the inertia of immense cargo ships. While current growth is powered by past momentum, the total fertility rate serves as a leading indicator for the population levels of the coming decades. For sub-replacement countries, the trajectory is clear. Their societies are aging, and their working-age populations are beginning to shrink. As the ratio of workers to retirees flips, these nations will experience mounting financial pressure to fund national pension systems and support strained healthcare infrastructure. While the developed world navigates this contraction, The global center of gravity for youth, labor, and economic energy will shift toward Africa. As the global average continues its descent toward 2.1, the era of rapid expansion is slowing. If these rates hold, the global population will move past its peak, transitioning from a history of growth toward a long-term decline.